You know that feeling when you're staring at your bank account at the end of the month, totally baffled, just wondering, where on earth did all my hard-earned money actually go? Well, you are definitely not alone. It's incredibly frustrating. But here's the thing. Most folks think being broke happens simply because they aren't making enough money. In reality, a huge number of people stay broke because of what they just keep buying week in and week out. See, it's usually not your income that's the main culprit. It's these invisible, completely normalized purchases that slide right under the radar. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the 10 hidden habits keeping you broke and show you exactly how millions of Americans make daily purchases that are quietly destroying their financial futures. Now, right out of the gate, let's get one thing straight. This is not about judging. It is entirely about exposing habits. Consider this explainer a complete no-shame zone. We are absolutely not here to judge anyone's current financial situation. What we are doing is exposing the automatic habits designed by corporations to keep people struggling forever. They've built these seamless, super easy ways for you to part with your cash. And those small, bad money decisions, when you repeat them for years, well, they turn into financial disasters. Becoming financially stable is way less about looking rich and much more about dodging these exact traps. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The silent wealth killers. 2. Automatic daily money drains. 3. The false economy trap. 4. Emotional escapes and nightlife. 5. The ego and status trap. And finally, number 6, building wealth quietly. All right, kicking things off with section 1, the silent wealth killers. We're talking about small decisions that lead to huge disasters. The crazy part about these wealth killers is that they look totally 100% normal. Millions of people participate in them daily without even blinking. The core problem here is what we call the automatic spending lifestyle. That's when you group small, seemingly harmless little purchases together every single day, basically living on financial autopilot. And that autopilot, it leads to massive, completely unnoticed long-term financial loss. Let's take a look at what these automatic drains actually look like in the real world. Moving right into section 2, automatic daily money drains. Let's talk about escaping those daily leaks. Which brings us to habit number 10, the expensive daily coffee. Now, hey, before anyone gets mad, this is not about hating coffee. I love coffee. It's about the habit itself. A $7 coffee by itself doesn't feel like a big deal, but doing it every single workday, that is over $2,000 a year just for flavored caffeine. And here's the real kicker. Most people buying that expensive coffee aren't just buying the coffee, right? You're usually pairing that bean water with a pastry or maybe a breakfast sandwich and maybe a tip on top of it. That right there is the automatic spending lifestyle in action. And that rolls perfectly into habit 8, constant fast food. You know, fast food actually used to be cheap, but definitely not anymore. Many Americans are now dropping $15 to $25 on one quick meal without realizing how insane that gets on a monthly basis. I mean, just think about how a quote-unquote cheap meal balloons the second you use a delivery app. Sure, you've got the food cost, but then add the delivery fee, the service fee, the driver tip, the tax. Boom. One lazy dinner on the couch can literally cost you an entire hour of hard work at your job. Speaking of apps, let me ask you a quick question. How many apps are you paying for right now? Seriously, pause and think about it for a second. This is habit 5, unused subscriptions. We're talking streaming apps, music apps, gym memberships you haven't used since January, gaming subscriptions. Honestly, it's modern-day silent robbery. Most people completely forget half of these even exist. Companies absolutely love this because a small $5 or $10 monthly payment feels totally harmless. But when you finally sit down and audit your bank statements, it is genuinely shocking how much money just vanishes automatically every month. Okay, section 3, the false economy trap. This is what happens when cheap actually costs you more. It's a classic trap. People who are struggling financially often buy the cheapest possible option repeatedly, while wealthy people tend to focus on long-term value. Think about it. Buying cheap shoes, cheap furniture, or cheap electronics just means they wear out incredibly fast and require constant replacing. On the flip side, buying quality once gets you real durability. Sometimes dropping a little more cash on a quality item up front is actually way cheaper than replacing garbage tier items over and over again. Ironically, being broke can actually turn out to be very, very expensive. Next up is habit 7, the lottery trap. And honestly, this one hurts to talk about because millions of Americans secretly believe the lottery is going to be their ultimate financial savior. But you just have to look at the math. The lottery is mathematically designed to take money from desperate people, repeatedly. It's $10 here, $20 there, every single week for years on end. Imagine if you just took that exact same cash and actually invested it instead. The cold, hard reality is that wealth almost always comes slowly through discipline, not through some magical instant jackpot. On to Section 4, Emotional Escapes and Nightlife, or buying temporary comfort. Think about habit 4 like a vicious cycle of buying things just to feel better. Step 1, you have a bad day. You're stressed, you're tired, or you're sad. So, step 2, you hop online to shop or you order some heavy comfort food. Step 3, you get that quick dopamine hit of temporary comfort. Feels better, right? But step 4, you are left dealing with long-term financial stress. Corporations understand human emotions so incredibly well. That is exactly why ads are constantly selling you comfort, status, attention, and escape. But this emotional spending, it's destroying millions of people financially. And then there's habit 2. Yeah, nobody likes talking about this one. Alcohol and constant party spending. Weekend nightlife drains budgets incredibly fast. Between buying drinks at bars, paying ridiculous covers for clubs, taking surge pricing Uber rides back and forth, and then buying late-night pizza, a single weekend can easily cost hundreds of dollars. And so many people just repeat this cycle every single week, all while throwing up their hands saying, I just can't save any money. Look, to achieve financial freedom, you usually have to sacrifice some of this temporary fun for long-term stability. It's just reality. Section 5, the ego and status trap. Let's look at the ridiculously high cost of other people's opinions. Habit 6 is a massive one. Car payments you literally cannot afford. This is easily one of the absolute biggest financial traps in America right now. People buy cars based almost entirely on the monthly payment, completely ignoring the total cost. And notice the hidden chain of expenses here. You aren't just paying that huge monthly bill. You're paying much higher insurance, wildly expensive repairs, premium gas, and huge interest rates. A lot of folks driving these really impressive-looking luxury cars are actually wildly stressed behind the scenes. A car that looks amazing in your driveway can quietly destroy your finances every single month. So the crucial point here, and honestly, the biggest reason people stay broke forever, is this. Modern culture heavily pressures us to look successful instead of actually becoming successful. Looking rich means maxing out credit cards for designer clothes, luxury cars, and desperately chasing social media validation to impress people who, frankly, do not care about you. But being rich, being wealthy, that's having savings, it's having investments, it's having control of your own time and living with low stress. Honestly, most truly wealthy people do not care what phone you use or what logo is plastered on your shirt. Real wealth is absolutely not about fake appearances. Finally, Section 6, Building Wealth Quietly. Let's talk about your new financial mindset. At the end of the day, struggling with money is not always about your income. As we've just seen, sometimes it's entirely about these automatic habits you've repeated for years without even thinking. But here is the truly fantastic news. Habits can change. Because wealth isn't only about how much money you make, it's also heavily about what you stop wasting. Making just a few small financial changes today and plugging up those invisible daily drains will completely alter your future 5 years down the road. You absolutely have the power to stop the leaks. I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful mantra to take with you. Build wealth quietly. The people who truly master money, the ones who actually achieve financial freedom and low-stress living, they just move differently than everybody else. They don't need the flashy logos, the brand new car payments, or the daily delivery apps to prove their worth to the world. So ask yourself right now, are you going to keep funding some massive corporation's bottom line today? Or are you going to start building your own wealth quietly? Think about it. Catch you in the next explainer.